Right, we went through it, and our little tagline that we figured out is just be awesome. Like, we're going to be essentially try to be the best we can be, and that looks different for every single patient encounter, right? So, for a couple years, we've told our staff, like, I want to be the best practice in the state. I like, and I don't mean that in terms of financial. I don't mean the biggest or the best, but like, we are in this small town, and you need to be able to walk into our office and feel like you could walk into Charlotte or Raleigh or Atlanta or wherever. New York, I don't care. But in terms of what you're offered, in terms of how you're cared about, like, that is the feel that we're going for. And so after back and forth, we kind of just said, that's what it is. Like, just be awesome, right? And if that's handling a patient that's upset, be awesome at it. I don't know what that looks like, but figure it out, right? If that's going above and beyond and seeing our patient or whatever you're going to do, like, kind of, that is kind of exactly what we want our staff to do. And our staff is very good about, elderly patient walking in, they'll go get an umbrella and walk them in, and it's just like, that's amazing. Like, that's exactly what it is. It has no revenue generating amount, but that is going to completely differentiate, and that's kind of what we want to be about. And that's kind of hard sometimes because, both of us understand that there's a lot of financial impact that we have to watch, right? We have to make sure we're watching those numbers. And that's sometimes hard because you have these financial conversations with your staff and you're like, hey, here's what we're doing. And it can sometimes get lost in translation because you're talking about all these definable metrics, but at the end of the day, it has a lot to do with it, but not necessarily what you're going for in terms of bringing back to, again, the purpose. Like, I have to do that to get to my purpose, but the purpose is we want to be awesome in how we approach patient care.
I love that. I think that is a little bit unusual. I started asking this question when I'm talking. I'll, especially like if I'm doing a protocol, if I'm talking about, like right now it's dry eye, if it's myopia management, if it's I ask the question. If I look around this room, how many of you believe you are the best place in your community to get eye care? And, I'll get a couple hands go up. And they don't go up like, they don't shoot up, right? They're kind of like this. They're a little bit afraid to admit it. And I often, as I'm talking about it, and then I'll say, do you know if I was in a room of cataract surgeons, the worst cataract surgeon in your community, if I ask that question, their hands are going to shoot up. And I think there's a lot of things that are endearing about our profession that actually make it so that we're a little bit timid to put that out there. It doesn't mean that you are that, like, if you believe you're the best and you put that out there, like, if you're going to be awesome, you have to live up to that. If that is something that you're really going to hold yourself to, you have to live up to it. And so in a lot of ways, it's not an arrogant statement. I think it can come off that way. I think it can come off like, I'm not going to raise my hand really high because I don't want everybody to think I'm a weirdo or arrogant. But if you really believe that means you have to put your money where your mouth is. So you're going to have to,
right.
You're going to, even if you're, so like, what that entails is if I don't do dry eye in my practice, but when you come into my practice, I'm the best place for you if you have dry eye, because I'm going to figure out if I can't fix it, somebody else is going to fix it, right? And so
Exactly.
It's just a different mentality, and I think that's where people struggle, is they haven't identified whatever it is. It may not be being awesome, right? But whatever that thing is, then it makes you kind of float in the wind, right? Because if you're going to be awesome and somebody comes in with a problem, it's very easy to figure out, like, I've got to be awesome. I got to make this problem go away for this patient, right?
Right.
And but if it's like, I don't know, we don't really have a clear identity as a practice, so I'm not really sure how to handle this. How would Dr. Pinkston think if I do this? And man, that's going to cost $250 because I'm going to have to give him a refund. So, were you awesome? Right? Yeah. Then you were awesome. Yeah. Okay, done. And you never have to worry about that stuff.
Right. And I think you're right. I think optometrists in general, we don't want to be seen as cocky or arrogant. And sometimes, like, I'm sure I get kind of called that a little bit when I speak, because I get very passionate about it, and I think it's very important. I think the disclaimer in anything like that is, like, I'm not trying to be awesome at your expense. Like, so if you and I are, even if we have vision source practices in the same town, it's not that I want my practice to be better at the expense of your practice.
Correct.
That's not all I'm saying.
Correct.
I'm saying is I want my practice to be the best practice that I can possibly build for my practice, which might look different than your practice. Like I might not do IPLs or sclerals or whatnot. If I get my hands in it, we're going to go completely into deep end of the pool. Like we're jumping in all in and we're going to figure it out. But until then, if we're across town, like, hey, Chris does a lot better job with that. He is awesome at that, and you're going to be in much better hands. And that's kind of knowing what you're good at, in my opinion. Like, right, like figuring out, okay, we're really good at this. We're really good at this avenue of eye care. We're going to be the best, and frankly, we're probably going to beat our competitors at it. But that doesn't mean that takes anything away from our competitors either. They're going to be better at other things, and I think that's okay. Like that's perfectly fine. Like we all have colleagues that like are better at us at certain things, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I wish them the best of success, and I want to refer that. I want to have a practice that I can build, that I can have referrals for. If you're doing IPLs and I don't do that, cool. There you go. Here it is. I'll send them all to you. Like take care of the patient like I would, and we can have a good thing going here. And so I think that's really important. That it doesn't mean that it comes at anybody's spells. Just like your F3 thing. Like if we're doing push-ups out there or burpees or whatever, it's not that I'm trying to beat you. I'm trying to push my limit. And then if I happen to finish first, or you happen to finish first, so be it. We kind of come together at the end and we circle up, and it's still we're all kind of part of this collective community.
Yeah, man. I think that's it, and I think it has to be built on trust, right? Like you made the point of not caring about the guy across the street, or across your town that's a Vision Source doctor or not, right? I mean, frankly, I think there's